My name is Nicholas Basigalupo, and today I will be talking about the Apis mellifera defense mechanisms and adaptation. At first, I was asking about a certain predator and how big of a threat it was to the honeybee population. However, along with further research, I've decided to see how the defense system of the honeybee has adapted over time. Starting off with communication. Communication is a huge part when it comes to defense. No one can come together to defend a certain thing if they cannot communicate. Now, obviously, bees do not have vocal cords, so communication comes in the form of pheromones. The attack pheromone, while I could not find a scientific name for it, is secreted through the bee's stinger. This means that anytime a bee is to sting or attack, this pheromone is secreted, and this pheromone is very, very unique. It is not able to be mixed up with any of the other pheromones that bees secrete because it is one of a kind and only happens when bees are in attack mode, are going to attack, or have already attacked. This pheromone is released in different amounts depending on the threat level, whether the bee sees the threat as very intensive or barely intensive. Whenever the bee releases this pheromone in a large amount, that means that the threat could be very, very great. And when the bee releases this pheromone in little amounts, it means that the threat is not as great of a harm to them or the hive as a whole. Now moving on to intradefense. Intradefense deals with the entrance of the hive. Any bee or other insect landing or approaching the entrance of the hive must be evaluated immediately. The guard bees are the ones that are tasked with this job. Now, this has nothing to do with pheromones. This has to do with chemicals and antennae. The guard bees use their antennae to kind of look over and evaluate the chemical compounds secreted by these insects or other bees to see if they are quote-unquote nest mates, which are bees commonly associated with the hive and do not pose a threat. If these chemical compounds are not detected, then the guard bees have a job to immediately remove any entity entering the hive to make sure that unwanted presences are not there, whether it be a predator or a lost rogue bee that may reproduce or cause reproductive parasitism within the hive. Now moving on to defense against other insects. Bees attract many insects with their production of honey, but most commonly they attract ants. Ants are the most common insect counterpart to bees. They are very, very intensive whenever they go after bees and their honey. Now, bees see ants as not a huge threat, but they do see them as a threat due to their great numbers. They are not very likely to lead with their stinger in this scenario, so the attack pheromone, is rarely secreted. For the most part, you will see that the bees will use their wings to flap at a rapid pace, or they will use their hind legs to kick away insects, ants, and other insects in any case scenario. While they're not as aggressive because not as much of the pheromone is released, they do take insects as another threat. However, they know and have adapted over time that ants do not pose a flying threat. So what they will do is create space between themselves and the ants. And during encounters with other insects, they will try to use their hind legs to kick away or blow away the insects. Now on to large predator defense. Guard bees alert, or any type of other bee can alert whenever a large predator is posing a threat to the bees. However, when a bee is in imminent danger, the attack hormone is almost pheromone, is almost immediately secreted. When it comes to larger predators such as bee wolves, honey badgers, toads, skunks, or bears that pose a threat to the bee itself or the population as a whole, they will try their hardest to secrete the most pheromones when it comes to attacking to draw the most attention and get the most aggression from out of other bees. When it comes to facing larger predators, more of the defense pheromone is released. Like I said, that means that more aggression will be caused. And another thing is that when it comes to larger predators, the adaptation side of things has not only to do with the sting, but it also has to do with their vibrant colors. Over time, the bee's coats and vibrant orange color has become way more prominent in order to associate them with a powerful sting in great numbers. This is kind of a defense mechanism within itself to say that, hey, I'm a bee, and once I sting you, the secretion is going to draw other bees, and this associates them with swarming and painful stings, which is a warning sign to other large predators. In conclusion, the Apis mellifera, or honeybee, is a very, very unique creature. It is not only tactical, but efficient. There are many particular parts to the predator defense system that work equally as well with each other, and these creatures have adapted in many ways to fend for themselves and make sure predators are properly dealt with. Now, on to the significance of things. I think defense is extremely, extremely significant. When it comes to defense and facing predators, it is not an easy thing. Without defense, then any prey or non-predatorial animal would be very, very open to harm or even death. Now, with bees working so hard and constantly working to produce honey and build the hive, it is easy for all their life's work to be taken out within an instant due to a large predator, or for them to get stolen from due with smaller insects. But the adaptation and other natural events have helped them become a well-oiled machine, so to say, in the fact that they're able to secrete pheromones, call on one another, and then also use all parts of their bodies in order to defend themselves against other predators or pests that might mess with them or try to steal from them. These adaptations over time have improved the honeybee quality of life and will continue to prolong the honeybees in their lifespan. Now, here is a list of my resources and references